Well, it says I'm live. Hi, everybody. I'm not feeling really joyful right now. The computer decided it needed to crash about 10 minutes ago. And I restarted, and then OBS was deciding it wasn't going to do anything that I wanted it to do the way I wanted it to do it. Actually, I haven't double checked to make sure that it is actually reading the microphone that I want it to read. It is. Thank goodness. At least, presumably, everybody can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know in chat. But I'm not going to be able to show you. Yay! Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. I'm not going to be able to show you the Saturday 6. I'm not going to be able to show you the one lone picture that I had. So, it's not a big deal. I will try to remember. Sounds good. Okay. At least it works. So that's intensely frustrating because everything was fine up until like 8 minutes before the show. And it's like, no, we're going to have to make you redo everything. I don't care for that. I don't like that at all. That is not particularly festive. I even took festive out because we're no longer in officially like the holiday season. Oh. So it is what it is. The sound is good. I'm trying to re-enter my grateful, joyful, all that fun stuff. It's not there. I'm not there. Reloading. It's like it waited. I mean, I was moving things around on the slide file that I use for the I still want to call it the Saturday 6, the Friday files, and just rearranging little simple little stuff, rearranging the order of some of the points. I was like, yeah, I want to do this for that. No, Steve, it doesn't actually have to go on. I mean, the world will continue going whether or not I do the show. But all that said, I am going to pull up my copy of minimize this. Goodbye. OBS, the Friday files. And I'll just go through it myself. And I have no idea why the display decided it wasn't going to work. It's the nice thing about, like, honestly, the nice thing about recorded video is that I don't have to do any of the stuff that I'm not as good at. So I had one kind of in mind, and I think I mentioned this in the last live stream. I had one that I was working on, and I did it. Actually, I think I can do it this way. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go back to my gallery. So, I've been studying some languages on Duolingo, and I got this as an achievement. And it's silly. I finished number 1 in the Diamond League. So they have little leaderboards, and you start out bronze, and then silver, and then gold, and then emerald maybe, and ruby, and sapphire, and amethyst, and pearl, and obsidian is like way up there at the top, and then diamond. And diamond is the highest. And I finished number 1. That was the only achievement I had left. And there have been some more since then. I am apparently 0 for 3 in lessons after 10 p.m. That's not going to happen anytime soon. I might work on that over spring break, but that's months away. So IDK. But like for the longest time, that was the one achievement that I did not have. And there were a couple times I tried it, and it just wasn't working out. But then I was like, okay, we have a short break here between semesters, but we've got like Christmas and New Year's are both on Sunday. And I'm like, I can do this. And like, I was just Duolingoing, not all the time, but like just powering through. I had figured it out so that I could get you can get an XP boost in the morning if you do a lesson in the evening. And likewise, if you do another lesson in the evening, then you can get, or you do your lesson in the morning, you can use that to get an XP boost in the evening. So I was doing morning, evening, morning, evening. And I had made my way up the leaderboards practicing Portuguese, which is what I'm mostly studying, but I'm a lot more comfortable with French. I only took French in high school, but I don't know. Do I have some of the Marmoset books here? I probably have them over there. But my dad, my aunt, my dad's sister sent some books to us, some kids' books in French, and my dad would sometimes read those to me as bedtime stories. So I just I was familiar with the sound of the language growing up, and then I studied it in high school. And so I've just always been really comfortable with it, but I hadn't actually studied it in Duolingo. So I didn't have any lessons done. So I was able to start at the little bitty baby lessons and just power through them. So that one week I went almost entirely into French. I don't think I went back to Portuguese much, and just power, lesson, as many as I could during that time of the XP boost. And I would get 400 XP in 15 minutes. And then I'd wait till that evening, get another 400 XP. I ended up with I don't know, some crazy amount of XP during, go back. What did I end up with? Yeah, 5,867 XP for the week. I don't know. I don't think that's a crazy amount. I've seen in the tens of thousands. So I think I just lucked out. People were doing holiday stuff. It's the week between Christmas and New Year's. But for my job, that's one of the times that I'm off. That I, it's not my vacation. But there's usually a lot going on. So I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. And I did it, and yeah. It felt really good, you guys. It felt really, really nice. Yeah. Yeah, Scott, I am not digging the new interface where I miss where you could choose a little bit more in what you were doing, and I'm not really sure. It also seems a lot more repetitive. But it forces you to go from this lesson to that lesson. It's just this is how it is. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if they've decided that people progress faster, they retain more if it's streamlined like this, or if it just makes it easier and people stay more engaged, or if they're planning to say, well, we'll let you choose your lessons if you pay. No idea. Yeah. Scott, and the other thing was, because I was in a Lobi one, right now, in Portuguese, so they'll have the timed ones, Um, and those are 40 XP. There's ones where the one I have right now is a matching one, which I don't like as much. But they used to do the one where if you could get the entire lesson complete, if you got a little bit complete, it was 5 XP. If you got half of it complete, it was 20 XP. And then if you were able to get the entire lesson, if you went from half to full before time ran out, you would get 40 XP. Well, double that's 80. And you get, I think, 2 minutes. And in Portuguese, I can do it in a minute and a half. But I haven't had one of those because I'm at higher levels in Portuguese, and I think that's only available in lower levels. Well, in French, I was at the lower levels, and I'm better in French. So I was doing these French lessons that you're supposed to be able to do within 2 minutes, and it's supposed to be a challenge. I was doing those in under a minute. And the XP boost lasts for either 10 or 15 minutes. So I would do one, and then I would go immediately to I would swipe out of the app, close it, and reload it, and I would start the next lesson because I didn't want to have to wait for the ad. And then I do the next one, do the next one, do the next one, do the next one, and just as fast as I could through as many as I could. The other thing that I was doing for increased XP is, let me see where it is here in the, oh, that's the picture. That's not actually Duo. At the end of each unit, you have the option for, to take that unit to legendary status. And you have to pass 8 quizzes. And if you pass a quiz, you get 40 XP. So I would also do those. I don't think I did them. I think I did them actually. I may have done them during the day because I think I discovered that those do not double. So there's no sense in wasting your XP boost on them because you're just using up that time and you're not actually getting the boost. So yeah, that was interesting. Okay. My OBS background is black, and then the YouTube Studio background is also black, so it's very difficult. I wish I could just like not see the rest of it and just, can I do this? Can I do pop out chat for here? Whoa. Pop out chat. Hey, there you all are. Okay, I have that. Can I minimize that? Oh, no, I also, can I zoom in here? Found an instructor. Oh, bummer. Also, yeah, there was, they were asking for live instructors, and I put in an application, and they emailed back and said, actually, we're not doing that anymore. It's like, oh man, could have been interesting. Yeah, Andrew, tiny violin, my friend, tiny violin. Yeah, because Scott, it can work out against you. You need to be really confident that you can finish. If I was getting close to time, I probably wouldn't do them because you only get 20 XP for the middle, and then if you get close to the end but you don't finish, you don't get any more XP than you'd already gotten, and it can be really frustrating, especially like if your phone freezes or something like that, and it just feels, because you do have to invest your gems in order to play it. It costs you some gems to play, but I almost never spend my gems except on like streak freezes. So I had plenty. So the other thing I found is that you can build up gems separately on desktop and the app, and they work a little bit differently. Like the time stuff only comes up on the app, but I'm much faster with the legendary quizzes. I could do more of them before I just was like, I'm going cross-eyed with the keyboard. So I would do the legendary quizzes on desktop, and I would spend, because those also take gems. I would spend the gems there, but then I would also have separate gems on here, and I would use those for the little speed things. So yeah, that was fun. All right, so holy Moses, you're like, you've left me in the dust, my friend. I don't know how many do I have? I've only got like I've got like 14,000 gems. It would be really cool if you could buy like a week of premium with 10,000 gems or something. Yeah. I think now the let me see here. Oh, whoa. There's a little dumbbell down there. That is new for me. Today's review, mistakes, 30. So all of this is okay, so this is the new icon for Duolingo Plus. Not interested, not going to pay money. So I was looking at something. What was I looking at? Wow, 1,903 days streak. I had a year streak, but then we went on a cruise, and I was not about to pay for Wi-Fi because, again, I'm cheap. So, oh, it's on that. So yeah, the one I have here, there's 45 minutes left. It's got the little match one. Don't like that one as much. There are a couple of them, and then the one where it's like the full lesson in 2 minutes. I never see that one anymore in Portuguese. So that's kind of a bummer. And then also, I think my dad just completed, yeah, my dad just completed a 1,000-day streak. So good for him. I've already celebrated that. So gonna send out a congratulations to my brother. So anywho, next. So that was number one, and I talked about that. Yeah, I'm really happy about that because like I didn't know if I would be able to do it, and then like I just like pushed, and I was like I got up to number one. I'm like, okay. And then I got up to number two, and I stayed there for like a day or two. And then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go for it. So I got up to number one, and and then like Samuel, who had been at number one, he's like, oh no, he got past me. I'm like, watch out, Samuel. And I went vroom when I went way past him, and then I kept my lead. Yay, French. So moving on to something a little bit more meaningful, there is a new medical therapy available that has been tested and has amazing potential for people with multiple sclerosis. And I'm going to double check my link here because I thought that it said, let me make sure, because that I was, I hope I'm not reading into this. Let me reopen that. I thought it said, yeah, new developments for treatment, slowing down the progression of the disease, and the possibility for increase for ongoing research that could maybe even lead to a cure, which is bananas. That's like so and I don't know, inspiring, exciting definitely, and that's just really cool. I mean, it's been this degenerative disease, a condition that you live with, and you know it's not going to get better, and there's a possibility that maybe this is just okay. This is what you do, and this takes care of it, and then you're just better. Just, oh gosh, the possibility of that is so exciting. That's just amazing. I don't know. The article goes into a little bit of how it was developed, and uh, but I will include that link. But there are it's related to, it's what's it called? So yeah, antigen receptor T cells to destroy the malignant cells, focus on them, and so yeah, that's why it's been used as an anti-cancer therapy before, but it's now being developed for use with uh, multiple sclerosis. Now the next one, nope, nope, nope. This one, that one. So, boop, moving on. All right, so number 3 is vaccines. What's better than curing disease? Not getting a disease in the first place. Hooray! And as it turns out, that doesn't just apply to people. Bees, y'all. Um, according to, is it Forbes? Was this nope? Forbes was. I'm getting a lot of medicine type stuff. So according to the BBC, the U.S. has just approved the world's first vaccine for foul brood disease that attacks bee larvae. So I know we've all sort of heard off and on. There's conversation about the honeybee population declining, and bees are like super important in maintaining ecosystems. And so this would be a hopeful, um, another way of hopefully improving that situation, and maybe making a little bit of a difference. I don't know. I've lost track, to be honest. I think I've had 4, because the first one was originally like a double, but we got a little bit later one, and we got a single one, I think, or maybe it was 3 down to 2. I don't remember. Yeah, I know Little Bee's getting. I'm just like I'm very curious about how it works. I didn't read like way down on the article, and I'm just like, so do they have little tiny band-aids for the little tiny shots for the little tiny bees? Um, honeybees, like Halcyon, I did not know that honeybees aren't native in the U.S. Well, like Halcyon, as we saw with the cancer treatment that was then developed further and is now able to be used to help with multiple sclerosis, hopefully, if we're able to, maybe make some tweaks on a vaccine that works for honeybees, that we can change it a little bit so that it will also work in other bee populations as well. So if it's effective, maybe we will be able to use it to treat native American bees that are native to the Americas. Because it sounds weird to call them Native American bees. I mean, you know what I mean, but it just sounds a little. The fuzzy buds are super cute. I mean, fuzz is pretty awesome, and just in general. Oh, fuzzy fuzzy bumblebees are just they're just little they're round and small and fuzzy. How can anybody not? I mean, I guess I can understand. They do look like things they're similar to things that can hurt you. So there you go. Bees are adorable and they're important to our ecosystems. So yes, let us help the bees. I know exactly, Scott. I was trying. It felt really weird. Oh, Andrew, I didn't know that declining bee populations meant increasing wasps. That's just all kinds of not great. I mean, it's good that there are other pollinators that are kind of picking up the slack and helping to pollinate things, because that is also really, really important. But, oh, wait. Oh, no. Come here. Oh, they had to print on the back of your card. I think when I got my second, third, or my most recent, I think my most recent vaccine, they gave me a new card. They're just like, okay, no, it's time. So, and Andrew, that's also important because then if she's able to squirm her way out, that means that the little stinger is not left in you, and there's less chance of infection. Bonus. And also, even if you don't get infected, it's just less irritant there. So, also good. Nature has a lot of monsters, Steve. IDK. Okay, so that was number 3. No, I'm not done with number 3 because there's another vaccine. All right, so this article I found this is in CNN. Nope, that's the next one actually. This one is in Neuroscience News. And they are developing a brain tumor vaccine. It eliminates brain tumors and can provide long-term immunity. So it's not a vaccine to prevent cancer, but to prevent recurrence of cancer, which is just really, really cool. So, having been through cancer myself, the biggest concern is not the initial tumor. I mean, obviously that can be a problem if you just let it grow, but the real issue is when the cancer spreads to remote sites, because quite often if you start with cancer, I mean, if it's localized, it's much more treatable. Once it starts deciding, oh, I'm going to be over here in your bones, I'm going to be over here in your brain, then it becomes much harder because, for one thing, it tends to attack places that you kind of need. And for another, like, that means it's possibly growing in other places as well. So the fact that you can prevent something from recurring and, showing up remotely, that's like super, super helpful. So that's also very exciting. So, okay, moving on from medicine. The Department of Justice said that pregnancy termination drugs are going to be available through the United States Postal Service. So, even if you live in a state where those services to end your pregnancy are against the law or are restricted in certain ways, this is one option that will be available for anyone who is pregnant and does not want to be. So that's it's good-ish news because, like, it hadn't been an issue, and now it is. So it's not. It is. Oh gosh, how do I? The fact that it is good news is bad news, if that makes sense. Yeah, Scott, it protects it, if that makes sense. So it's not nothing. And I think this is going to be an issue that is contentious for a long time. Kane, exactly. It's less bad than it was news. But I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, do you mean it's less bad and more news? Wait, no, hang on. So, yeah. Radical bacon, yes, but I think this is either the morning after pill is mifepristone or this is mifepristone. This is after the morning after. So this is, yeah. Yeah. It bothers me, Lighthouseian, that they both start with MI because I can't keep them straight. I just can't do it. My brain is like, nope. Gotta keep them. The names need to be different. Like, I can remember both acetaminophen and paracetamol, and I can remember which one is which, even though they're the same thing. Acetaminophen is the one in the US. Paracetamol is the UK one. It's the same thing, okay? It's Tylenol. That's the brand name. But for whatever reason, oh, and then, yeah, that's just whatever. So, Andrew, you could temporarily get a blue check mark for that. However, the nice thing about the morning after pill is like, once you use it, you're good. I guess that is also kind of sort of a monthly thing as well. It could be. Hopefully not though. There are other options ahead of time that might make it less necessary. With the blue check, I mean, you've only got the one option. It's like pay them or nothing. Okay. So another thing was I got to go earlier this week to the theater center and we talked about a play. And I was actually talking to my students today about this. One of the questions that I often get asked, because in my survey I ask students, a little to tell me a little bit about themselves, but one of the questions that they can choose to answer is, do you have any questions that you would like to know, anything you would like to know about me? School appropriate, of course. And I often get asked, why you want to be a teacher or why you want to teach English. One of the phrasings this semester was, what in the world made you want to be a teacher? So it is what it is. But I said, I really, really like talking about stories. And Steve can attest to this because I will just like run my mouth about stories. Even like if he starts talking about Star Trek and tells me a little bit about it, I will offer my opinion. Having never seen the show, sometimes never even having seen a single episode of the series, I'm like, I'll tell you what I think about what you told me about that story. So up at the Chattanooga Theater Center, which used to be called the Chattanooga Little Theater, one of the actors, volunteers, got the idea of having a play reading group. So each month, it's a Facebook group. Each month they put out a list of 3 plays and say, okay, let's vote which one we're going to do. And then the group chooses, and then we get the play, we read it, then we meet in person and we discuss. And it's just, it's a different kind of like than talking about stories with students. Because with students, it's work to get them to, and almost always, it's work to get them to see the value that's there. And because it's not enough just to say, this is why this is important. I mean, you can do that, but they're not going to fully appreciate that as much as if you lead them to the realizations and the understanding and the connections that help them understand for themselves why these particular works are significant, why they matter, why other people have loved them. And so that's really hard, but when you can do it, it's like super rewarding. But the play group, everybody already is like invested. They're already like they're open to finding joy in that. And exactly, you tell me about the movie, I will tell you what I think of it. And so exactly, Steve, I would sure, I will venture an opinion on movies that I have not seen. Absolutely. I would be great at late seating. Just run my mouth, and then people could be angry, as they so often enjoy doing. So with the play group, we can just go in expecting to enjoy, if not the play itself, at least the conversation about it. And we all like stories in different ways. And so there's that there's a different foundation that you're building from. And so it's so much easier to just kind of slide into that conversation and talk about what you did or didn't like and why, because the people are already invested. They want to be there. They have chosen to read this play. And also we all have a fair amount of experience with stories and with theater as literature. So it makes a big difference in the way that it's enjoyable. It's a lot easier to enjoy. Um, and I leave the theater feeling validated as somebody who likes stories. That sometimes when you're in your classroom and you don't always get a lot of time to talk to your colleagues who also enjoy stories, um, it's just always work. Like you always have to, pull the students in and, nudge them to the place where they're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And when you can do that, it's incredibly validating as well. But the process of getting there is exhausting. Whereas the exhausting part is not getting there, but like how much you have to share and say once you're there. Like it's like so involved and intense, and like the conversation just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And um it's very, it's not very fast paced because we're all good at learning to listen and pulling back. And I know that doesn't seem like it, but I can wait and let other people talk sometimes. And maybe that's what makes it so exhausting. Bye, Andrew. Thanks so much for coming by. Um, it's just it is still exhausting, but in a different way. And so it's a nice balance to what my last happy point is, which is I have a class to teach this semester. And it's so nice. We're a week and a half in now, and they have just finished up their first essay. And we've done some grammar work, and we've done some reading. We've done some reading out loud. We haven't really gotten into any literature yet. That's starting not next week. Next week is research. Woohoo! And some discussion about what we're finding out. And then after that, we're going to be getting into literature. So we'll see. I have a couple of new things I'm trying this semester, and they look promising so far. I'm using ChatGPT to respond to the writing prompts that I'm giving my students. And then the next day, later that day, I'm creating the form. And then the next day, I'm giving the students the form that says, okay, this first question is multiple choice. 3 of these paragraphs were written by your classmates, and 1 of them was written by the bot. Can you spot the bot? And then the next question is open-ended and says, okay, what made you pick the response that you did? And so what I'm finding out so far is that they suck at explaining their responses. It's like, oh, well, I picked this one because it sounded like it was written by a computer. I'm like, that tells me absolutely nothing. That tells me nothing. So we're actually going to go back to the standards and look at, I think, RL Reading Literature 1, which is about using evidence from the text to support the meaning that you have found. I think Reading Information 1 is similar. But yeah, these sounded like they were written by students, and this one sounded like it was written by a computer, so I picked that one. Like, yeah. That's what the directions said. Congratulations. I guess that's not nothing. Reading the directions is crucial. Because I have some that often don't do that. I'll put it on the class website, and I'll write it up on the board, and I'll tell them, and they're like, okay, so what do we do after we do this? I'm just like, I just told you. It's on the board. It's on the class website, right there for you. I mean, I've been through it enough that it is only mildly irksome. And I'm trying to remember that this is part of the joy of having a class to teach. There are some challenges that come with it. But overall, um, I've had 2 students that have had to get their schedule changed because there was another class that they needed. I had one student who needed US history instead of world history. It was only available during the time when I had her for class. I was like, and I had another student who had a similar issue with, I think, her math class. So she got taken out and put in somebody else's English 2 class. And then I have one who showed up on the first day and not after and has moved. And I have one who has not shown up because I think they had moved and they're just still on the roster. So they'll probably get cleaned out after next week, I think, is when everything gets changed over. So the class is actually right about where I'd like an English class to be if I had a full schedule, but I don't. So it actually feels a little on the small side. I think I am down to 17 students, which is good for a writing-oriented class. But since all of my other classes are online and all I'm doing is like grading the writing the writing projects and the presentations and things, and I don't actually get to teach, it feels like not very much. So, but I'm glad I get to do it. I really, really, really struggled last semester with not getting to teach, and I'm really glad to be back. And then I thought of one other thing that I want to just add kind of here on the end, and that is that I'm also happy that I have started my new public library journal. It has a little thing, and it's smooth. I think it's leatherette cover, and it's like moleskin style. So it's pretty, and it's blue, and it's like got lots of lines up in it. So I'm doing I set the timer for 15 minutes, and then I write for 15 minutes or until I fill the page, whichever comes first, and then I'm done. So just little stuff. So it gives me a little bit of a feeling of accomplishment. I don't really have a whole lot of direction for that, so we'll see what happens of it. But I like it. The book itself makes me happy. So I will put the links in the description, and since I have not been able to show you my Duolingo picture, except I guess like that, I'm going to put it on the community page because I haven't done anything with that in a little while. But other than that, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for being here. Share your joy in some comments. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who are in the States, have a lovely, hopefully long weekend, and work towards the dream. Thanks so much for being here tonight, folks. I will talk to you next time. Bye for now. Oh, wait, I said bye for now, and then I realized I minimized the window that I needed. So y'all are just going to hear me like pitter-patter here while I try to figure out which was the one that I needed. Hey, look, end stream. Okay, seriously, folks, bye.